Welcome back to another Techstination interview. I'm Fred Fishkin. In this edition, a tablet-type device designed for video conferencing. Joining us is John Gayman, Chief Operating Officer at Nexvoo, and Steve Schmidt, Vice President of Sales. Thanks for joining us, John and Steve.
Thanks for having us, Fred. Appreciate the time today.
So you have a range of products on the market, including the NexPad T530, a Google-certified video conferencing solution. Tell us a little background, first of all, about Nexvoo, Nexvoo.
Sure. I'll jump in on that one. Fred, thanks for asking. So Nexvoo was actually founded out of Indianapolis, Indiana, here in the Midwest. And we basically have a lot of innovative unified communications products that are available on the market today. We also have a wide array of healthcare products that you can find on our website at nexvoo.com.
Well, let's talk about the NexPad T530, this video conferencing solution. I don't know if you have one handy. You're welcome to show it to us if you do, either one of you. But tell us about the features. There we go.
Typically conferencing from this tablet, but I wanted to be able to show it. So I'm actually conferencing from my computer, but you can see the size of it there. It's a very nice 8-inch tablet that can either set in this direction or could be set up like this. And you can see it switches configuration. But it is a Google certified tablet. Was really brought out both for the home market as people start to, a lot of conferences from their house. We wanted them to be able to basically still have access to their computer and still be able to do a video conferencing session at the same time. So it really allows for that. But then it also can be used in a pro setting, such as a collaboration station, where this literally could be the video conferencing technology that launches a meeting, 5 or 6 people sitting around a table. What's really unique about this product is that you can also then take it HDMI out of this device and go to a large screen monitor or projector. So it's very exciting. It can be used either in the home or in educational or professional setting.
And it can work wired or wireless, right? Connecting to the internet.
Yes, it does have a port on the back that can be hardwired, or it can be just on Wi-Fi. So a couple different options there to connect to internet.
And while it looks like a tablet, that form factor, it doesn't have a battery, right? It has to be plugged in to be used?
That is correct. Yep, it is a plug-in. It does not have a battery.
So Steve, tell us about the market for a product like this. Where are you seeing demand?
The easy answer, Fred, would be everywhere. But to be more specific, I think if you think of 3 areas, education, you can break down to K-12 and higher ed. And right now, ease of use is a very critical thing in those units, as well as cost, right? So if you look back to the Chromebook, and JR as a former company that launched an amazing device back in the day, and it's not always about cost. Sometimes they say, well, in our school and our curriculum, we use iOS as an operating system. Well, I think if you look forward to this particular device, the fact that it's Google certified matters.
It's an Android device. We should point that out, right?
Thank you, Fred. Yes, it's an Android device, and Android's an amazing operating system because of its nimbleness and flexibility, right? It doesn't quite lock down as much. But if you look at things like JR had mentioned, home use. Think senior living, and we all know senior living in 2020 in particular with COVID created quite a bit of distance between family members. And we're not quite sure what that's going to look like in the future. But as senior care in general and the aging population, we could forecast ahead and say in 20 years, seniors will be tech savvy. But I know my parents today took about 4 tries to get a Zoom call right, And when you're operating things from your mobile phone, sometimes it can get a little bit finicky. And if you try and tell a 75-year-old parent to get Zoom loaded up on their PC, that's a whole nother deal. And although we think it's easy, what this device does, I think, is allows you to have a separate device that you can put in the middle of your countertop or in your office. You can still operate on your primary PC or whatever it is that you're working on. And you really now get that second device that has that strength to be a great audio and visual experience in an era where presentation matters so much. And the way that we're talking and interacting on screen is usually our first impression. I feel really good about the fact that this particular device allows you to do that. And I'll add one thing that I think in those two markets in particular matter quite a bit. Say I'm a salesperson working for a big corporation. You're going to lock down just about every application I'd ever want to put through your firewall. And there may be 20 other applications that make me more efficient. So now I have a second device. It's not my mobile phone because I'm on that all day, that I can set over here. I can use it for a great video experience on whatever that is, WebEx, Zoom, go down the list. But I can also use those applications that are critical to me that might be cloud-based, that my employer doesn't want me to use on their network, that still help me do my work and allow me to have a great video presentation, because I may work for a big Fortune 500 company, but it doesn't mean they give me an awesome PC and an awesome camera. They tend to stick with a standard PC with an operating system that's compliant with their network. So I think the use cases are endless, but those three in particular really stand out to me from approaching the market and finding the best fit.
Let's talk about some of the things that make this such a good video conferencing tool. You as opposed to, say, using a notebook or another kind of device.
High quality, whether you're using a Mac or PC. So where this has a dedicated 4K camera, that's a pretty big difference. And then also around the audio, it's got audio noise cancellation. So when you are in an environment where it has a lot of background noise, this is really meant for that directional pickup of audio and kind of blocks out additional background noise. So those are two of the biggest features that I see, versus a standard PC.
And there's a pretty good sized speaker built into this as well.
Yeah, the audio quality is excellent. So coming, from the endpoint back to you, the audio quality is very good as well. And then the microphone pickup array within the device is solid. So all around, it's dedicated where a computer is not, necessarily built for the video conferencing experience.
So you have this high quality camera, but at the same time, you're giving people a privacy option. Tell me about that.
Yeah, it just have a little slide that covered the camera. This thing is sitting in a corporate board meeting. You may not want that camera always turned on, so you can literally shut the camera lens off. So just in case it, any kind of privacy issues or anything like that, you can shut the camera off.
So tell us about pricing and availability.
As you kind of saw there, I've already got, we've got units here in the US. We can ship pretty much immediately on this device. The price point MSRP is $499, and currently we are running a promotion at $399.
As you mentioned before, this can be used in a horizontal or a vertical mode, depending on how you want to use it and how many people you want to fit into the picture, I suppose.
Yeah, and what's really good about it is that Google Play. So funny enough, I came out here this morning to turn it on, and my kids had a couple video games up, apps that they had downloaded. So not only is it a video conferencing tool, but it can also be used as a tablet, and it has the Google Play Store. So you can literally put anything on it. So it's a nice product for the home in that regard too, because it does double up as a kind of a secondary computer that has the full Google Play Store. So.
You have some other products in this vein to help people out with video conferencing. Tell me about some of the other things you have.
Absolutely. So I think if you're looking at the screen and the experience here, the one thing that Nexvoo wants to be identified as is think about that desk phone experience. So maybe it's not this particular unit, but there's two components to this. It's audio and visual, and everybody wants to have a great experience. As we all know, bandwidth can be inconsistent as well. So if you have the bandwidth and you have the application, you can now carry that over to a desk phone. So that same, if you look at the actual hardware on the tablet, carry that over to a desk phone now. And where Nexvoo sees the market is, think about unified communications. And as it's going to less and less dependency on your local telecom provider, Zoom entered the marketplace in 2020, well, unpredicted, right, in 2020. that it would have the growth it had. We all saw the massive growth on NASDAQ. The stock prices went up, the user adoption went out. I'm sure their cloud usage fees went considerably up. The one thing they didn't do in 2020 because they were so busy was really to think about, well, I shouldn't say they didn't innovate. Zoom as a company, Microsoft Teams, you think about these various Cisco WebEx, everybody innovated. But that delivery experience of now I am someone who sits in a cubicle at a place working, nobody uses that desk phone. And it's particularly because it's easier to pick up your smartphone and use that because that's what you're used to all day. And a lot of people don't know how to forward a call from their desk phone. Well, Zoom and other unified communication partners such as Teams and Google Meetups and Google Hangouts, is everybody started saying, well, maybe you just start using us for your telecom, right? They can assign that phone number and port it over. The thing that nobody knows how to do yet broadly is to then take that Zoom experience that they're having or whatever the conference platform is and have that same platform for every interaction they have, whether it's a phone call from a client, an exchange of information. So I think that those products carry really, really well into the worker experience, no matter if they are someone in accounting, whether they're a salesperson who's mobile or a C-level CFO sitting in the corner office. It allows you to be able to do that. Now, I want to really key in on one thing, because the background that JR and I had together prior to meeting up with Nexvoo was an education, and everybody wants to be cognizant of the applications that someone's utilizing, whether that's corporations looking to only have specific applications, or K through 12 or higher ed saying these are the only applications we want you using on this device we've issued for a lot of reasons. When you now have that Google certification, you can manage with that Google Chrome Management Console what applications are pushed out to which users. So you can go by groups, you can go by job title, whatever that is, you can control that now. So that is a huge component, no matter what Nexvoo device you're using, whether it's the tablet or the Next phone, which I believe is a hugely transformative phone in that boring phone arena, right? Where I think we're really getting away from the 60 buttons, unless you're the operator, right? Forwarding calls from the front desk, all the way over to the sound bar. So if you think of the Next bar, and this is the final product I'll touch on, I've had a Next bar for about a year now. And to be able to have a Next bar experience, which it's a bar that you can move around or you can fixate to a wall, and now you have that bar with that camera that's going to be able to navigate the room. So let's think about sitting in a room, having the camera fall around with that AI technology. The users, as they speak, to keep the attention where it needs to be, puts it on you when you're speaking, takes it off you to the broader room. That AI technology is going to be baked in every Nexvoo camera from the get-go. It's not a refresh. This is the market approach. It's how Nexvoo will lead, is a little bit leading edge into AI. And I think it will only get more exciting from there. My favorite product is actually the standalone tower, JR, the speaker component. It's going to give you a very rich audio experience, along with a camera that's separate from your computer. So I can put it over here, never have to think about it unless I choose to use it on an input or via Bluetooth. And then I don't have to be dependent on anything related to my PC other than the Bluetooth connection to have a very rich audio and visual experience. So between those four products, and I think that's a good thing to stick to, is those four particular products, at least in this talk track, there's something in it for everybody. I truly believe that, Fred.
Really terrific. And I wanted to touch on, because if people go to the website, they're gonna see this. Some of the healthcare things you have out there are pretty wild. You've got a high-tech office chair that can detect my heart rate and things like that. That sounds pretty wild.
Yeah, there's really two monitoring products that we offer today already. So we have a 6-in-1 healthcare monitoring device that's literally no bigger than a hockey puck. What we've done there is we've kind of also taken that technology out of something that you may not pick up every day and put it in something that you use every day. So we wanted to that technology more from a monitoring device and really get it into something that you're sitting and touching every day. So it's not something that you have to think about, oh, how's my heart rate, how's my blood pressure. You can literally just kind of get these readings right off this chair.
And so it's built into the armrest?
Yes. Yep, right into the armrest. As you're kind of sitting there, it's progressively saying, how's your stress levels? Are you stressed out? And it's progressively monitoring those. So it's pretty neat innovation to put that into a chair.
Terrific. For more information on all of this, where's the best place for people to go, John?
The best place to go is just nexvoo.com, nexvoo.com.
John Gayman and Steve Schmidt, thank you so much for taking the time with us.
Thank you, Fred.